Welcome to the Global War Watch Network. The U.S. and the Philippines are training shoulder to shoulder, preparing for war, peace, and everything in between.
We've all been seeing the increased activity in the Indo-Pacific, and today we're really getting into why this historic U.S.-Philippine alliance is seeing such a push towards modernization and, well, operational readiness right now.
Right, and a lot of that activity, it centers around Balikatan. That's Tagalog, as you know, for shoulder to shoulder. It's their annual bilateral exercise. But the recent ones, like the 39th iteration we just saw, they're not just your standard drills anymore.
Now, it feels like the core focus has really shifted, hasn't it? What's the updated mission set that's driving Balikatan these days?
It's much more comprehensive now. The exercises are really designed to boost collaboration across some pretty critical modern areas. External defense, definitely, but
Yeah.
also cyber defense, counterterrorism, and the essential humanitarian assistance and disaster response (HCA) plus general interagency capacity building.
Okay.
It really reflects a commitment to face threats across, well, all domains. So our mission today, then, is pretty clear. We're analyzing the sheer scale of these operations, the strategic why behind this alliance boost, and maybe most crucially, the really complex logistical and resource concepts that have to underpin this new reality. We're drawing straight from recent operational reports and defense strategies here.
Right. Let's start with the scale, maybe the spectacle, of Balikatan 2024. This is the 39th time, ran late April, early May, and the numbers were huge. Over 16,000 Philippine and U.S. troops, all under a joint command center. Where were they focused geographically?
Yeah, they weren't just in one spot. We saw activity across northern, western, and southern Luzon command areas, so a key geographical spread. And what really underscores the regional significance, I think, is that French forces actually participated.
Oh,
And you had 14 observer nations, including big regional players like Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, but also global partners like Canada and the UK. It just shows how much interest there is in this partnership's stability. And the kinetic event, the one that really grabbed headlines, was that maritime strike event, the sinking of the BRP Lake Caliraya.
yes, that was quite something. A decommissioned Philippine Navy ship, it was a 99-meter oil tanker, basically used as target practice about 15 kilometers off Lauag, and it wasn't quick either.
No.
It was hit for over 2 hours by combined Australian, Philippine, and U.S. forces. We're talking fighter jets, warships, land-based artillery, until it finally went down, stern first. A powerful, very visible demonstration of integrated strike power.
Beyond just the firepower, the sources mentioned several strategic firsts. Which of those really stood out as significant for the region?
Well, two things, really. First, these drills happened beyond the Philippines' 12 nautical mile territorial waters. They were operating in open seas that are, let's be clear, illegally claimed by the People's Republic of China. That's a direct statement.
A very direct statement.
And second, U.S. Marines deployed their amphibious combat vehicles, the ACVs, for the very first time in the Indo-Pacific during these water exercises. So they're testing next-gen amphibious assault capabilities right there in a high-tension theater.
And that focus on defense was clear in the live fire exercises, too.
It was. You had about 200 Philippine and U.S. soldiers repelling a simulated amphibious invasion up in Ilocos Norte province. They used missiles, artillery, really demonstrating that coastal defense capability.
So how was the whole thing structured?
It was pretty comprehensive, actually. Three main parts. First, the command and control exercise, or C2X. That included a staff exercise, a cyber defense exercise, and significantly, an inaugural information warfighter exercise.
Information warfighter, that's new.
Brand new for Balikatan, and it's purely designed to test how well the joint forces can plan, command, and communicate, especially, in today's contested information space.
So that's the command element, the brains.
Exactly. And then the muscle is the field training exercise, the FTX. That
Right.
focused on combined joint all-domain operations, think maritime terrain protection, integrated air and missile defense, or IAMD.
Right.
And the third piece, which is always important, the HCA projects, humanitarian and civic assistance. This provided real community benefits, like building school buildings in Ilocos Norte and Cagan, new healthcare centers in La Union and Palawan. It's that necessary mix of hard power and, well, soft diplomacy.
Okay, let's shift to the why. These exercises aren't happening in a vacuum.
No, absolutely not. They're directly tied to the strategic tensions. They take place amid, frankly, significant tension in the South China Sea, or as Filipinos rightfully call it, the West Philippine Sea.
And this context really drives the necessity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We know the PRC claims huge parts of that sea, it's rich in resources, and they just continue to ignore that 2016 International Tribunal ruling, the one that clearly placed contested features within the Philippines Exclusive Economic Zone, the EEZ.
And that dismissal of international law, it translates directly into coercion out on the water. The sources give specific examples. Chinese Coast Guard ships ramming Philippine vessels, blocking them, firing water cannons
Right, I remember those reports.
at ships that were just doing routine patrols and resupply runs to their own military outpost on Second Thomas Shoal. These aren't just standard maritime encounters, they're aggressive acts.
And the positioning of the exercise in themselves seems very intentional, too. A lot of the northern training locations face directly toward Taiwan, which Beijing claims and constantly threatens to annex.
Exactly, which is why the exercise goals are so critical. They're practicing seamless operations, acting as a truly unified force. It reflects that core concept of integrated all-domain deterrence, basically preparing for any contingency across the board.
And the Philippines is being quite direct in its messaging, too.
Very direct. Philippine Navy Commodore Roy Vincent Trinidad put it plainly, "We are not alone, and we're ready to defend our sovereign rights." It's a clear signal.
Of course, this unified front didn't go unnoticed. Beijing's reaction was predictable, wasn't it?
Predictable, yes. They claim the exercise was provocative. And indeed, Chinese warships, Coast Guard vessels, even maritime militia boats were seen nearby during the drills. It just confirms they see Balikatan as a direct challenge to their claims.
So that need for integrated deterrence naturally leads us to the Philippines' own major commitment, the Horizon 3 modernization program. This is Manila really stepping up its side of the alliance.
Absolutely. This isn't entirely new. It builds on the Armed Forces of the Philippines Modernization Act. Horizon 1 back in 2013-2017 was about filling basic gaps. Horizon 2, 2018-2022, enhanced things, brought in frigates, some fighter jets. But Horizon 3, this is where the really ambitious shift happens.
Ambitious is right. The scale of the commitment they announced in January 2024 is huge. We're looking at a target budget of US $35 billion over 10 years.
That's the target, yes. And for Manila, it feels non-negotiable. The goal is nothing less than fully securing and defending their EEZs, their seabed, continental shelf airspace, really enhancing defenses against external threats. And the focus, it's pivoting hard towards advanced anti-air and, significantly, submarine warfare capabilities.
Submarines, that's a major capability leap. What are the specific acquisitions defining this new focus?
Submarines are definitely top of the list. They've earmarked somewhere between 80 billion and 110 billion pesos just to buy at least 2 submarines, plus all the support infrastructure that goes with them.
Any particular type mentioned?
France's naval group, offering the Scorpion class, keeps coming up as a potential partner for training and supply. They might even base them out of Subic Bay again. They're also looking for new multi-role fighter jets, maybe F-16s, or possibly significant upgrades to their current FA-50PH fleet.
And we can't forget the strike capability they're adding.
Precisely. Manila's talking with India about getting more BrahMos missile batteries. That builds on the first shipment they received back in April 2024. This whole massive capability boost, it underpins their new comprehensive archipelagic defense concept, the FEDC.
PDC, okay.
Yeah, it emphasizes really robust protection of their huge maritime domain and all the resources within it.
But this brings up a critical challenge, money. $35 billion over 10 years is the goal. But the 2024 starting allocation was only 40 billion pesos. That's roughly $694 million US. They need a massive ramp up in funding year over year to hit that target. Is the plan actually realistic from that starting point?
And that is the core difficulty, isn't it? The ambition of Horizon 3 is undeniable, but the financial mountain they have to climb to deliver it is equally huge. It makes long-term resource security just as critical as buying the actual hardware.
So the ability to actually do all this, from running complex exercises like Balikatan to funding the key at sea, brings us to the operational mechanics, particularly how the U.S. strategy of integrated deterrence and modernizing alliances plays out on the ground.
Exactly. This is where we move from the strategic goals to the practical challenges. The U.S. concepts you mentioned, stand-in forces operating inside the enemy weapon zone, and expeditionary advanced base operations, EABO, they demand a completely different way of thinking about logistics.
In a different way, how?
It demands what some call a redundancy mindset.
Yeah.
Your old, predictable supply chain just won't cut it in a contested area. So you need new sustainment models, things like 21st century foraging, which basically means buying supplies and services locally from commercial vendors to supplement what the military brings.
Okay, that makes sense conceptually, but the reports suggest the reality of implementing this, say for a key unit like the 3rd Marine Littoral Regiment, the 3rd MLR, reveals some serious flaws in execution. These aren't just theoretical problems.
No, they're critical failure points that really slow down reaction time. For example, the source material points out that the 3rd MLR, which is often based in Hawaii, is geographically separated from its main contracting support unit, the 3rd Expeditionary Contracting Battalion, or 3rd ECP. And where's the 3rd ECP? Okinawa.
Hawaii to Okinawa. That sounds like a recipe for delay if you need something fast.
It absolutely is. That huge distance, plus a lack of what they call collocated contingency contracting officers, KOs, who have the actual authority to approve contracts in Hawaii for missions outside the continental U.S.
Well,
It means when a unit needs immediate short-notice support, the person who can approve the spending is thousands of miles and several time zones away.
that seems to fundamentally break the speed needed for EABO.
It does. It undermines the core concept. And it's not just about location. You mentioned process hurdles slowing things down, too.
Yeah, what are those?
Requirements generation is apparently a major bottleneck. The soldiers or Marines who need the support often don't have the expertise to write up the complex technical requirements properly or navigate the funding process efficiently to get the contracted support approved. They know what they need, but maybe not how to ask for it in government speak quickly.
And adding insult to injury, these units often aren't even using the tools designed to help them get around these exact problems.
That's right. It seems they're missing chances for faster support. For instance, units like 3rd MLR often don't use the 3-in-1 tool. That's designed for making immediate cash payments or small micro purchases locally. Very useful for that foraging idea.
Okay.
Or, critically, they aren't using the HRS system effectively. That's the system for managing acquisition cross-servicing agreements, or ACSAs.
Right, ACSAs. Why is not using AJTR so critical, especially with an ally like the Philippines?
Because ECSAs are the mechanism that allows the U.S. to get support directly from a partner nation during a crisis, things like fuel, food, maybe basic services, with a guarantee they'll be reimbursed later. If the tactical units aren't using AJTRs properly, they can't easily tap into that allied support directly.
They have to go back up the chain of command.
Exactly. They end up relying solely on higher headquarters, like the 3rd Marine Division, to arrange ACSA support. And again, that just injects massive delays and bureaucracy into a situation that demands speed and agility.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Well, the significance of this evolving U.S.-Philippine security relationship. It clearly requires more than just spectacular shows of force like sinking an old tanker. It needs intensive, complex, often unseen logistical and contracting alignment behind the scenes. That's what's needed to truly ensure preparedness for everything in between war and peace.
Which leads to maybe a final thought to consider. Given the sheer complexity here, financing, planning, execution for both the Philippines' huge $35 billion modernization plan and the U.S.'s new integrated logistics concepts, which specific piece of this puzzle, personnel, platforms, or policy do you think presents the most significant long-term risk to regional security stability? That's something worth mulling over.
A vital question indeed. Thank you so much for your time and participation today. We really appreciate you being with us. Please, if you found this discussion valuable, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to Global War Watch Network. We also genuinely want to hear your thoughts, so please share them in the comments section. And join us on social media. All the links you need are in the description below. We'll see you next time.